Okay, for this one, screw the transitions and the segments and stuff, because everyone only wants to hear about one thing. Here, really quick, let me fix that. Everybody only wants to hear about one thing: the Nate Bjorkgren situation and our front office and stuff. Here's how I feel about the Nate Bjorkgren situation. A, it's not all Nate's fault. I feel like everyone can predict me saying that. It's not all Nate's fault. One, he's had a ton of injuries. Before you say, "Oh, I don't want to hear about injuries," if you don't want to hear about injuries, then you're actively denying part of the reason that we're losing, and you don't want to like look at the full picture. You just want to have selective, well, I guess opinions are already selective, but you want to have selective hearing and just kind of only pick out certain parts. You have to look at all of it, and part of all of it is the injuries. If it's like one or two guys, maybe three, okay, yeah. But when it's like seven guys and half your team is injured, then you kind of have to hear about injuries. Because that has to be a part of it. There's no way it's not. Half of the team is literally on the bench injured. How could that not be part of it? That makes no sense. It is clearly part of it. He's had to deal with a ton of injuries. Also, Nate McMillan, his first year, he finished seventh in the East with a healthy Pacers team in 2016. This is one with Paul George, Monta Ellis, CJ Miles, Jeff Teague, Al Jefferson. Lance was on that team if I remember correctly. But yeah, it was that team right before we like freaking Kevin Seraphin was on that team right before we just like freaking traded a bunch of people and let a lot of people walk in free agency and stuff. This was the year before that. He finished seventh in the East with a healthy roster. It takes a year for a new coach to set in, especially for a group of guys who have been playing together for a while, like this squad has. And Nate Bjorkgren has had to go through a lot more than Nate McMillan did in his first year, in both of their respective first years. Only the difference is Nate McMillan had like he had at least I know he had at least a head coaching job before that with the Portland Trailblazers for a good minute there, and Nate's a rookie. So I feel like taking everything into account, if we're comparing the two, Nate has definitely done a good job with the hand he's been dealt. I mean, he had to deal with drama at the beginning of the year also with that whole Victor Oladipo situation. It's just he's had a terrible first year, probably like one of the worst first years you could have as a rookie, like just coming in and having to deal with all of that. That's tough. It's clearly not all of his fault. Yeah, there have been times where he could do stuff better, and I've acknowledged that. That's why I kind of feel like I try to be unbiased. I'm late to blame coaches and players in the front office and stuff. I'm later than most people to do it because a they're humans, and I know me as an athlete. I don't even play on a really big stage. I've still had to deal with hecklers. On YouTube, I've had to deal with hecklers. Like I don't even face that many and stuff, and it it doesn't get to me, but it's not fun when that happens. It's just it's off putting. So imagine when you have millions of people at a time just constantly giving you crap no matter what you do. Like that's got to be tough. And B, I've seen guys, turn seasons around like midway through. Like you never know what's gonna happen. It's sports, so I like to wait until things are kind of finalized, or like I've seen a lot of something, or like there's just blatant evidence right there. I don't want to blame anybody because I don't know the full situation. I like to try and get my evidence. And right now, the evidence shows that it's not all Nate's fault. He has barely any experienced assistant coaches. The front office dealt him a terrible hand. He's had to deal with injuries and a drama way more than other rookie head coaches have had to deal with. So, considering everything, he's done a pretty decent job with the hand he's been dealt. And Greg Foster fighting with Goga there, like almost getting into a physical fight. All I can say with that is it happens. It's not super often, but it does indeed happen in sports, especially when you're super frustrated. Like the San Francisco Giants in from like the years of 2000 to 2003, Jeff Kent and Barry Bonds were beefing really hard in those seasons. In fact, there were multiple occasions where they fought in the dugout. And actually, there was one occasion. I don't have video of it. There's very little evidence of it actually happening, but it's just such a cool story that I want to tell it in this instance. It's a part of it. Jeff Kent and Barry Bonds got into a fight, like a physical altercation, and then Jeff Kent's yeah, his next at bat after fighting with Barry Bonds, he hit a grand slam. People don't know what a grand slam is. It is when the bases are fully loaded and you hit a home run. So it was pretty cool. I mean, I didn't get to see it live, but I've heard about it. And, you know, there have been countless. It happens in football the most, really, where coaching staff will fight with players and coaching staff will fight with coaching staff and stuff like that. But that's because football is just inherently violent. Same thing with hockey. That happens too. But basketball, it does kind of happen the least in. So I could see why some people would be surprised. But me watching, like, the four major American sports, it's not that big of a surprise to me, especially with how the season has gone. It's just, it was expected. Like, there's going to be something like this eventually. Also, the people saying, you know, who've been saying for us to tank, welcome to a preview of what it's like to be a tanking team. As you know, I'm a Tigers fan and I'm a Red Wings fan. These teams are like 4 or 5 years into their respective tanks. This is pretty much what it's like. Yeah, give me a second. Yeah, for those of you wondering what those little like that sound in the background was, I have a timer for the lights in my room and they make that noise. And I just got annoyed with them, so I unplugged them. Yeah, that's just this past like month. That's your quick little preview into what tanking is like. Front office constantly fighting, making bad decisions. Owner doesn't want to spend any money. I mean, with the Tigers and Red Wings, it's, you know, we went from Mike Ilitch, who was the owner, he spent so much freaking money. Like, he was willing to spend everything he had in order to build a winning baseball or hockey team. Part of the reason why we were so good. And then we went to Chris Ilitch, his very, 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 very underachieving son, who doesn't want to spend any money, doesn't care if we have winning teams, doesn't care about Detroit, doesn't care about the state of Michigan as a whole, and just wants to try and make money. And knowing the loyalty of Detroit fans, he can make money without the teams being any good. So he takes advantage of it. And also, the star power that us Pacers fans have been privileged to, with Reggie Miller, Paul George, Victor Oladipo, Caris LeVert, Domantas Sabonis, Miles Turner, Malcolm Brogdon, Jermaine O'Neal, Ron Artest, Rick Smits, Mark Jackson, Dale Davis, Mark Davis. Who else? Steven Jackson was good for a few seasons there. Yeah, just a lot of the great players that we've been privileged to watch. David West, Roy Hibbert, George Hill. A lot of the good players that we've been privileged to watch. Yeah, tanking, you don't get any of that. Those guys are gone. There's no star power. There's guys that are young that you hope develop into that, but there's really no guarantee, and it's going to take a few years for that to happen. So with coaches fighting and the front office making bad decisions and a bad owner, you don't even get like an all-star that you can really cheer for or anything like that. I mean, you get likable guys, but you don't get, these superstars. No, you just hope. So there's not even a good product put out there on the field, ice, court, whatever. So it's all negatives across the board, and there's no guarantees that you're even going to make it to where you're trying to go because of how bad your front office is and how bad your owners are. The only thing is, with the Red Wings, they have Steve Yzerman in the front office, who is really good. He used to play for the Red Wings, and then he was a part of our front office for a while in the early 2000s, and he left. He built a Stanley Cup winning team with the Lightning. Now he's back here trying to rebuild this team. He is an established executive who can make smart decisions. The Tigers have AJ Hinch, who we only got because he was banned for a year from baseball because he cheated. He stole signs, which it actually would have been legal if he didn't use cameras. Because you can steal signs in baseball, you just can't do it electronically. He used electronics. So the trash can banging was legal, but using cameras, that was illegal. And because no other team in Major League Baseball wanted to touch him, the Tigers capitalized, and we got a really good manager out of it, and he's made really good decisions so far. The Pacers have none of that. I mean, we have Nate Bjorkgren, who it's hard to tell if he's really good or bad. I'm right now in the middle. I'm saying he's decent, and he might develop into a good coach if we teach him right. If we give him some older assistants who can kind of guide him a little bit, he could be a really great coach. If we don't, he could flounder because we mismanaged him. And the Pacers don't have any flashy, really good front office guys. I mean, Kevin Pritchard makes, he can find undervalued talent, but he can't develop it or utilize it properly or keep it under contract. And then they go off to another team and do good there. The Pacers have none of the essentials to complete a rebuild. So we'd be stuck in this situation that you've seen for the past month. We would be stuck in that for a long time. Like, just as long as the Knicks were. For a really long time. And it being Indiana, there's no guarantee that we can do like what the Knicks tried to do with capitalizing on their market in New York. We can't do that. We have nothing of, like, we can't really sell Indianapolis. I mean, there are a lot of people coming here. The population is fastly growing, but apparently everybody's a pansy and can't stand winter, like cold weather. Like, just wear a winter coat. Like, that's what clothes were invented for. But we have nothing that can help us complete a rebuild. You need to have certain things, and we don't have that. We just have to ride it out. That's what I've been saying. And if we're bad, then we get good draft picks, and we still have the star power in guys like Sabonis and Miles Turner and Malcolm Brogdon, and then we bring a really good young guy in, or a few really good young guys in, they develop right, we're back at it in a few seasons. We tank, we have to rebuild everybody. We have nothing to capitalize on. And if we don't blow it up and some of those guys don't develop, it's fine because we still have our stars. If we get rid of the stars, bring in guys they don't develop well, we're screwed. I mean, I don't know how more blatantly I can put it. The Pacers are in no way, shape, or form ready to complete a rebuild. In the 80s, that's when they were. Because they had Donnie Walsh, who drafted Reggie Miller when everyone else said he shouldn't. He drafted him because he saw him. He scouted him. He knew what he could be. And he took a chance. And then he took more chances on more players and hit most of the time. And completed the rebuild for the most part. We don't have anybody like that. I mean, as much as I would like new owners, if we sell, there's no guarantee there's going to be anybody in Indiana that can buy this team. And then they move, and we're stuck in the same situation as Seattle. Maybe there's a chance Jim Irsay buys the team. And if that happens, we're all good. We're freaking winning a championship if Jim Irsay buys this team. Because Jim Irsay is Indianapolis's Mike Ilitch. I mean, he spends money to try and make a winning team no matter what. All he cares about is making a winning team. That's what he wants. He wants to bring a winning team to the city, and he loves the city. That's what you need in an owner. And we have that in Jim Irsay with the Colts. That's part of the reason they're so good. He knows the right guys to hire. He's a football guy. He knows a good amount about the game. He knows what GMs to hire, what executives to hire, what head coaches to hire. He knows what to do. And he'll pull out his checkbook to sign players that he knows are going to be good. I mean, he's been told by Chris Ballard, Frank Reich, and just basically everyone, these guys are going to be good. He's seen them. He thinks they're going to be good. And then they turn out to be good. Unless the Pacers are bought by Jim Irsay, we're not completing a rebuild. Plain and simple. Or we find some amazing GM or some amazing head coach. We're not going to complete a rebuild. It's plain and simple. I don't know what else to say. I mean, trying to complete a rebuild is only real. It's only as a fan. It's painful. It's really painful. It sucks. And like you guys see Detroit in the state of disarray that it's in now, it wasn't like that in the 90s, 80s, 2000s when the Red Wings and Tigers were doing good. Because sports were doing good in Detroit. There was a lot of money coming into Detroit, and everyone, like a lot of people were happy because sports were good. If sports aren't good in Indiana, the same thing can happen. Because this is another very sport-reliant city. Luckily, we have the Colts. Thank you, Jesus, we have the Colts. I can't wait for the Colts to start playing again. Won't have to deal with all this freaking bull crap. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And no, the people are going to say that they were a Colts fan for the suck for lucky year and 2017 and 2019 when we still had a solid year. We just didn't make the playoffs. One season every once in a while of being bad is not a rebuild. That's a year that you just kind of take off. A rebuild is several years. The Red Wings and Tigers haven't been good since like 2015 or 2014. Last World Series appearance from the Tigers was in 2012. Last playoff appearance by the Red Wings was in 2015. It's multiple years in a row of just gruesome suffering. Yeah, it's not fun. But hey, you guys asked for this. You guys wanted this. You wanted a tank. Well, everything that comes with a tank is here. A front office in disarray, coaches fighting, players not playing well, and injuries being given out like candy bars on Halloween. This is what you asked for. This is what that looks like. I hope you're happy. I tried to warn you guys, but this is what a rebuild looks like. Tried to tell you, no one would listen to me. See you guys next time. As always, I'm not funny, and you should probably listen to me more because I've experienced the Colts, who are Super Bowl contenders. I've experienced the Pacers, who are as middle of the road as it can get, and I've experienced the Tigers and Red Wings, who are rebuilding. I've seen it all. I've experienced it all. You should probably listen to me when it comes to if a team should rebuild or not. I'm just saying. I know there are people who are a lot older than me who probably have experienced more with the Pacers, but just seeing the Red Wings and Tigers and what state they're in right now, I couldn't. It wouldn't work for the Pacers. That's all I'm gonna say.
Love on each other, as in like tell each other they love. I don't know like who the person is. So the fuck you doing? The fuck you doing?